Page 86, exercise 5.4. We're introducing the pedal, the right pedal, the pedal on the right side, the damper pedal, the loud pedal, whatever you want to call it. I don't agree with loud pedal, but it's called that sometimes. The sustaining pedal. It's got various names. The idea is when you push the pedal down, it lifts the felts up off the strings. They're called dampers. So the string can vibrate. That's its job. That's what the pedal does. They're talking about what they call a direct pedaling, or you call them whatever name you want. It's known by different names. They call it direct pedaling. I don't know what direct pedaling is exactly. Is that opposed to indirect pedaling? Is there such a thing? I don't know. But it's called overlap pedaling or legato pedaling, smooth pedaling, if you want to call it that. I think different people call it different things. I call it overlap pedaling because you're overlapping the fingers with the foot. They're not exactly the same time. It's one than the other. When you use the pedal, give you the pedal spiel here. I give videos on pedaling. You can't cover it all in one short little thing. So we're going to focus on overlap pedaling. There are different ways of pedaling, different styles of pedaling, different methods. Basically, as far as the physical part of it goes, it's all the same. You have your foot on the pedal, your heel's on the floor, and the pedal is somewhere in the ball of the foot or somewhere where you can comfortably hinge your foot at the ankle and you just push it down and up and as you need to. If you're tall enough to be able to do that. Some people are way too short. They can't reach the pedal at all. And to them, there's special devices you can get which you can put on the pedal which raises it up, in effect raises it up, so short people or little kids can pedal too using this block thing that's on top of the pedal that works. I don't have one, so I can't really show you about that, but there are devices to help people who are too short to reach the floor pedal also. Most of the little kids who are too short to reach the floor don't need it because they're not advanced enough to use the pedal, but you run across a prodigy occasionally and they just got to do their thing, The idea, now, first off, pedaling changes the tone, and that's what I could call it a special effects pedal because it doesn't just sustain the note, it changes the tone. Now I'm talking about an acoustic piano. I don't know about electronic piano, so I have to experiment. But if I just play a note without pedal, it's this. If I play the same note with pedal, it's this. And if you're listening carefully, you can hear those two things don't match. It's not the same. And that's an important distinction if you're really listening, and I'm hoping that you're learning to really listen to this because there's a lot to it. I have a choice. When I play, I can push the pedal down with the note, and that's releasing the dampers, so right when the note sounds, the dampers immediately start vibrating and do things, okay? I can push the pedal down after I play the note, and that way you start the note, and then you release the dampers so the note kind of grows into it. Or I can put the pedal down before I play the note. Usually that's used on really loud chords where you have time to put the pedal down first because you want that explosion when the chords sound. You want that explosion right off the bat, so you push the pedal down first, and then that's a different type of pedaling. We're going to focus on overlap pedaling or smooth or connected pedaling here, and that simply means that you're going to push the note down first and then the pedal, and then when you go to change the pedal, if you ever change the pedal, you would play the next note and then the pedal would come up and right back down after you play the note, so there's a little bit of overlap. So what we want to do in this technique is we're going to push the note down first and then we're going to push the pedal down immediately after. If I want to change the pedal, that means lift it up and down, change it. I'm going to play the note where I'm changing it first, and then I'm going to lift the pedal up and down. Like so. And that's how I do it on overlap pedaling, legato pedaling. It ensures there's always sound. If I try and change the pedal with the fingers, there is a chance I could get it off and I raise the pedal too soon and I'll have a dip in the sound. I don't want that. Now, there are different types of notations for pedal. If you'll take a look on page 87, underneath the bottom staff, just look at the first line. You've got 3 PEDs, a little line, and then an up line. In this book, they're using that PED to tell you when to push the pedal down. The line going across means keep it down, and the line going up means release it. Most publishers, they don't use the PED, they have a line going down, and that tells you push the pedal down. But they don't put it down exactly when you're supposed to. So the markings of up and down are not equal to when you're supposed to do this. Look at this first line here. In the measure where the pedal is, there's 3 measures in a row that's pedaled, sort of. You push it down right after you play the first notes in the measure. And they say lift it up when you play the C after it. But there's phrasing. If I play it without pedal, here, I put a little break between phrases so I can hear the phrases. Otherwise, what's the point? The idea is I want to hear the phrasing. So I'm going to lift the pedal up a little bit before I play the C, so I get a little silence. Same thing here and here. And I do that in this piece, I do that throughout. Now if you go down to the third line down there on page 87, they're holding the pedal down for a little over a measure. But they've got the phrases. But this is different. These aren't really phrases, these are slurs. And it's to indicate 2-note slurs. Down, up, down, up, down, up. So do it without the pedal, it's here. Now you don't hear that with the pedal, but it doesn't matter. You still use that technique. And that's the point. Use that up-down technique with them, even though the pedal is messing up the slurs itself. So it's this way. And then we get the slurs type thing. At the bottom of the page, well, on the 4th line down, it's the same as the first. On the last line, it's actually the same style as the first line too. So you get the idea. Now at the end of the piece, the last measure there at the second ending, you're here. I'm a big believer in this. Careful. I know the pedal's sustaining the sound, and I could lift up the right hand immediately, and the sound would still be there. But I still say it's good technique, that as long as there's noise coming out of the instrument, keep your hands down on the keys. So the hands come up, and the pedal comes up at the same time here in the end. Everything comes up together. Good practice, good habit. On a typical piano, here I'm going to focus more on a grand piano because upright pianos, a lot of them do things slightly differently. I'll try and explain things as we go along. You generally have 3 pedals. You may only have 2, but generally you'll have 3 pedals. Now if it's an electronic keyboard, you probably only have 1. And if that's the case, the pedal you have is the same as the right hand pedal on a piano. So I'm going to start with the left pedal. The book talks about the soft pedal or left pedal. It's over here. You work it with your left foot if your left foot is functioning. And the physical technique is the same as a damper pedal. The heel's on the ground and you simply push it down. Hinge at the ankle and push it down. Now, what it does is it's supposed to make things softer. So if I have here and I push that left pedal down and play it, it's supposed to be softer. Well, there's 2 problems here. One is that on a grand piano, it not only makes it softer, it changes the tone. Now on an upright piano, it just makes it softer. You don't have to worry about it so much. But on a grand piano, it changes the tone. So if I play one note without the pedal, I play the same note with the pedal, those two tones are not exactly the same. They may be close, but they're not the same. And I can play the notes with the pedal down just as loud as I play them without the pedal. So here or here, it can be the same, but the tone is different. So in my mind, this soft pedal is only used when you want to change the tone so much, or you have to play so super soft your technique doesn't allow you to do it. But I'm a firm believer that you got to get your technique to the point where you can play really, really, really soft without that pedal. Because to me, that pedal is just a crutch. So learn. We've covered, have we not, how to play really, really, really soft? If we haven't, we're going to cover it soon. Because there's ways of playing so soft you can hardly hear it without that pedal. You don't need it. So to me, this pedal is more of an effects pedal. I use it when I absolutely have to, and I don't use it that often. Now, the middle pedal, if there is one, is a Sostenuto pedal, and that's kind of a special effects pedal. It didn't come around until the mid-late 1800s or so, and most of the even Liszt didn't use it. You know, you would think there's all kinds of things in Liszt you can use it, but he didn't use it. So whichever foot is available has to use it. Either foot could. In fact, I had a teacher teach me in one piece where I was using all three pedals, where one foot had to use two pedals at once. So it was like the left foot had to cover the left pedal and the middle pedal at the same time to do it. Now, you would not use the right hand or the right foot to push the damper pedal and the Sostenuto pedal down at the same time, because that kills it. That ruins the effect of even having a Sostenuto pedal. That's the middle pedal, and I don't know if you ever used it or not. A lot of pianos don't even have it. They just have two pedals. They'll never miss it. A lot of upright pianos have it, but it's not a Sostenuto pedal. It's a practice pedal, or it's just another damper pedal. There are two different ways of working it. And one, they can push it down and lock it down, and that makes the piano play really, really soft. That's so you can practice without bothering people in the next block. You're soft, right? Another way is it's a sort of a damper pedal in that it raises the dampers on the lower half of the keyboard, but not the upper half. So it's sort of a Sostenuto pedal? Not really. The true Sostenuto pedal is it will raise the dampers of the notes you're playing when you push the pedal down. So if I'm playing a note and I push that pedal down, it'll keep going, but no other notes will do. Here, they're staccato, but that one pedal, that one thing continues to ring. And that's the purpose of a Sostenuto. It'll keep the notes ringing or sounding when you push that pedal down, and only those. So any other thing else you play doesn't. I don't know if you ever use it or not. I have very seldom used it in the past, and I don't use it now for anything special. What we are after is that right hand pedal, the damper pedal, or the sustaining pedal, or the loud pedal, whatever you want to call it. I don't like loud pedal. So the idea is it just keeps the notes ringing if you have it down. So if I play any other notes, they continue to. And you can have a real mess real quick. But it also changes the tone, because if I play this note without the pedal and this note with the pedal, they sound different. Point I'm trying to make is don't use the pedal unless you have to. Some people sit down at the piano and the first thing they do is put the foot on the pedal, which is fine, except now they're going to pedal everything. You know, I want to take them and take the pedal away, because you use the pedal when you have to, and only when you have to. And it's important that you learn to do that. You need to develop some good pedal habits. Now, there are a lot of different pedaling techniques, a lot of different styles. Physically, basically one way to do it, and I've showed you that you put your heels on the ground and you're hinging at the ankle and you're pushing the pedal down as you need to. I tend to overdo it sometimes. You're not supposed to lift your foot up off the pedal and go down. I think sometimes I tend to do that, especially in these videos when I want to show you. I may exaggerate the move slightly, but usually it's just a small move. Now different pianos are different, and some pedals are higher off the ground on some pianos, and some pedals move more than other pedals, and you have to get a feel for each piano you're using. Now on page 86, they are talking about Espressivo, which is expressively, Italian again, but they want you to add a little more to the music. You're interpreting the music. You're turning it into an emotional experience. You're not just playing notes. You're not going... That's playing notes, and I hear a lot of people play this piece like that. Ugh. A lot of editions, this one doesn't show it on page 87, but a lot of editions will put in these hairpins like they're showing on page 86 in their edition. So you'll see it in the music, even though Beethoven may not have put it in himself. It's an interpretive thing. So the idea is you're starting out soft and you're going to build as a swell up to a point where you have to figure out where is the point, where's the climax, where's the important part. And that can be tough because it's not necessarily just one note. In this case, it kind of looks like it's the E and the B, and then I would start coming down here, so like so you're swelling up. Now you're starting out really soft. You're not going to swell very much. This piece in this part doesn't get loud, so it's very gentle. Now if you look on page 87, their fingering, a lot of editions use that fingering of 5/4. Frankly, I like 3 and 4 better. And then I use 5 on the last one. And then there, on the last 2 measures of the first line where it starts again, I do a 5, 3, and then 4. You can do the 5/4 if you want, but I'm going to do that swell on every one of these. And then on the second line, after the repeat sign, you see it gets louder. People will generally play this part about a medium loud. It's because it's louder than the other. And they're saying 2, 3. I prefer a 1. Come down. Again, I don't finger it the way they're doing it. You can finger it fine, but in the third line down, second measure, this, I don't finger it that way. The way they're doing it, because they're doing it here. It's fine, but I prefer here, 5, 1, and then I use the thumb in the right hand to play that, and then I can go and then you back down to you're coming off here. And some people will retard in here. Some editions say to retard. Get a little slower. It's a very pretty piece. There is one thing I want to point out here. I pointed out some stuff already. One more thing I want to point out is in the second ending, when you're down here, in the right hand, that is a D, not an E. Right there. Because in the past, everywhere else, it's always been an E. Well, here at the end, it is a D. Beethoven put a D in there at the very end, and a lot of people will miss that, so watch it. It's a pretty piece. Give it a shot and see what you think. You'll find all kinds of recordings. I even did a recording of this piece on my other channel. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description. No promises. I don't know. Let's see.